Hi, this is Monica. I want to talk a little bit about my experiences with those around me who have been vaccinated. Um, just recently, my stepdad, who we've been able to keep him from doing this up until last week, I think. He was up north and he had made up his mind he was getting it done. He already has COPD and he's had lung cancer. So he got it, and right now he's at the doctor. He's been having troubles breathing ever since. Um, his friend had even died the night of his second jab, and he also had really bad COPD, and now he's reconsidering his second shot because of finally being willing to read and look into some of the things me and my mom have been bringing to him. But I wanted to talk also about my dad because, this past when the jab first came out, and he was thinking about doing it. I had talked to him about it, and he promised me he wouldn't do it. And I'm his 41-year-old daughter. I mean, how often does your adult daughter make you promise anything? Anyway, so he promised me he wouldn't do it. It was funny. He moved at the beginning of the summer, and him and my mom aren't together anymore. But I did notice a difference in him early this summer, and I didn't really know what to make of it, And I kind of had thought, like, okay, what's going on here? I couldn't really explain it. My mom asked me, well, what are you talking about? Because I'm like, my dad's being weird, He's always been quiet. He's just a very humble person. So he's always been short with you. He's not mean or anything. It's just, and I just noticed this difference. And with the new strain coming out, the new Delta strain, I figured, I'd better get on his case and, showing him more information and stuff. So I was showing him the blood work results that I'd gotten off of Rumble. I can link that in the description here. And he was like, well, that's pretty convincing. I'm like, yeah, you should show it to your friend, Rosie, who, because she's all about this getting vaccinated and making everyone get vaccinated. And it was then that I kind of realized he did it, and I was really upset at first, and I talked to him, and I said, well, you promised me that you wouldn't. He goes, I don't remember that, which I found weird because, well, I don't know how you could forget something like that, especially when it was so important to me. Anyways, so that was a couple months after I had said to my mom, he's being weird, So I know there was a notable difference in him. And then to think about the spiritual aspects of it, it's incredibly obvious. And it obviously wasn't all in my head because I noticed it before I even knew he had done this. And so he's experiencing constant headaches, dizziness, lightheadedness, lack of energy. So I just am hoping that someone who watches this will, think twice about this. And I really do think the media is good at controlling people's minds. Obviously. I mean, I don't even know why my stepdad, after all this time, decided to get it. And then why my dad would just literally forget everything we talked about and go and do this, And I know he's an adult, he can do what he wants, but it's just very hard to watch those that I love. And, when I thought about it, after being around my dad, after he had done this, I wasn't feeling well either. So we know there's a lot of evidence that the spike proteins are contagious, so to speak. So I just wanted to warn people of the dangers of this and, the spiritual danger, even beyond any physical danger that, you could have of COVID. I mean, if you're going to die of COVID, if God wants you to die of COVID, well, you're going to die of COVID, and this is definitely against, just letting God decide your fate. So if you're a believer and you're considering this, you're not trusting in God. It's that simple. Another strange experience with my dad the other day. It was very odd. Because he is a believer, but he doesn't really, he's not all into it. He doesn't read his Bible. So I don't know what I would call him. I don't know. Is he a phony believer? I don't know. I think people have been so deceived by churches that they think that this is all okay. But, so we're driving. I have to go help him out in his storage unit, cleaning it out. And we were just talking in general. He's like, yeah, people aren't going to be putting up with this COVID crap much longer, blah, blah, blah. And he says to me, people should be more worried about the second coming than they should about COVID. And I was like, and I actually, I knew what he was talking about. But I said, second coming of what, Dad? He goes, of Jesus Christ. And I was like, okay. So I'm talking to him about this. And I'm like, yeah, I agree 100%. This is all just a big distraction anyways. And they just want to trap you with this, trap your soul. So I'm talking to him, and then it's like, you know how when you're talking to someone and you can tell that they're just, he wasn't really even in the conversation anymore. And it was very odd for him to bring that up. I was excited that he did nonetheless, but it was very strange. It was just strange. And I would say that change I noticed in him, people have said, there's a lack of natural emotion once you have been fully jabbed. I would agree. There's, but he still has his, wits about him and stuff, but he's even more forgetful than he was before. I mean, he's 65 maybe. Sorry, maybe 66. I'm not sure. But, we would make plans for the very next day. He's like, yeah, I'll be there at noon. 1 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, Dad, I'm coming out there in my car that overheats. I'm coming out there to check on you because I'm worried about you. Because this was after I found out. And he's like, he shows up about 2 hours later. Why are you freaking out? I said, because you said you'd be here at noon. He goes, I don't remember that. I'm like, well, we talked about it last night. You were the one who made these plans. Anyways, I got to get going.